Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Isabel Wong.
I'm Harminder Singh. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. China Airlines pilots continue strike for second day, leading to more flight cancellations.
Police search for evidence in MTR missing documents case as lawmakers call for full review of rail giant's management system.
And British media report says UK government looking to shut out Huawei from critical infrastructure in Britain.
Talks between China Airlines and its pilots union are ongoing as pilots continued their strike for a second day, but sources said the meeting did not go well.
Over 20 flights were cancelled today due to the industrial action. Hong Kong Airlines has agreed to add 4 extra flights between Hong Kong and Taiwan to take the affected passengers. Riley Chan reports.
Dozens of China Airlines pilots union members gathered outside Taiwan's Ministry of Transportation and Communications today. The building would host negotiations between the union and the airline. The union said they had collected some 400 work passes from pilots so far, representing a third of the airline's pilots who supported the strike. The ministry set up the emergency talk, hoping that the airline would address the pilots' demand to improve work conditions during long-haul flights. The union reiterated that no compromises would be made. We are talking about air safety. Do you think we can compromise air safety? A unionist asked. Earlier this morning at Taiwan Taoyuan International Airport, passengers were left stranded after flights to Hong Kong, Japan and Cambodia were cancelled. China Airlines President Xie Zhiqian arrived at the terminal and thanked frontline staff for their work. Our door is always open. Nothing is non-negotiable. I hope we could reach a preliminary consensus in the talk later, Xie said. The airline's pilots began the industrial action yesterday morning after management refused to hire more pilots for long-haul flights. The air carrier said it would increase costs and undermine the company's competitiveness. Taoyuan Airport pledged to work with relevant authorities and try to minimize the impact caused by the labor action. Taiwan's Tourism Bureau said travel agencies affected by the strike could lodge a claim against China Airlines, and the Bureau would provide necessary assistance. Meanwhile, at Hong Kong's airport, several flights were cancelled today due to the strike. Hong Kong Airlines has agreed to add 4 extra flights between Hong Kong and Taiwan to take affected passengers. The airport authorities said it would closely monitor the situation and urged passengers to check the status of their flights before heading to the airport. Riley Chan, HKIBC.
Police has started searching for evidence at the offices and construction site of the troubled Hong Kong station after it emerged that key records were missing.
Meanwhile, lawmakers called for an immediate and full-scale review of the MTR's monitoring and management system, with one labelling the credibility of the railway operator as bankrupt. More from Riley Chan.
Police were seen at the administration office of the Sha Tin to Central Links Hong Kong Station project in Hong Kong this morning to collect evidence. Sources said the Kowloon West Crime Squad had begun a search of the construction site and administrative building since the 1st of February and removed computer hard drives and piles of documents for their investigation into missing construction records. The scandal plagued $97.1 billion rail link deepened last week after it emerged that there were unauthorized alterations and missing construction documents relating to Hong Kong Station. Chief Executive Carrie Lam has called on a commission of inquiry into the shoddy work to expand the scope of its investigation to cover the latest discovery. But legislators did not believe it was enough. Civic Party legislator Tanya Chen said she would move a motion to invoke the Legislative Council's special powers to investigate the scandal. If the motion is passed, lawmakers can summon witnesses and demand evidence.
The Commission of Inquiry has no duty or no power to investigate into the civil or criminal obligations of different People's Act. However, for the Select Committee of LegCo, we can do much further. The legislator have our own power to determine the terms of reference as well as how far and how deep we can go.
But Lo Wai-kwok from the Business and Professional Alliance said it was more efficient to let the Commission of Inquiry follow up with a probe, as he was worried that LegCo would not have enough time to finish the investigation by 2020, when a new legislature would be elected. Architectural sector lawmaker Tony Tse was blunt in his description of the MTR's role as regulator of its infrastructure projects, calling it bankrupt. He urged the government, the MTR's largest shareholder, to fix the rail operator's management and governance problems.
The whole system in the MTRC had to be reviewed, particularly regarding the role of the board of directors. And the director actually, there are a number of directors appointed by governments, whether they really, look at what their role, what sort of performance they are expected from this director, and also the management teams of the corporations, whether they are, really try to tell all the facts and, the information to the board. All these sort of things, I think, have to be reviewed because at the moment the system seems to crack down.
He suggested the Highways Department send staff to oversee MTR projects on site in the future. Riley Chen, HKIVC.
Consumers will likely pay for the cost of tariffs on goods if the trade war between the U.S. and China is not resolved.
That was the prediction from Commerce Chief Edward Yao as the trade war truce deadline on March 1st approached. Yupina Ng reports.
China and the U.S. have until the 1st of March to strike a trade deal. That is when their trade war truce ends. U.S. President Donald Trump has stated that if both sides failed to reach a deal by the deadline, Washington would increase tariffs on $200 billion of Chinese imports from 10% to 25%. Commerce and Economic Development Secretary Edward Yao said Hong Kong businesses are concerned about the